Hey there YouTube, this is Vargas XX78 with the long-promised Vargas Reviews video. Um, like I mentioned before, I've been meaning to actually sit down and talk about some movies that I went to see with the wife. But because of stuff that's been happening, the wedding, the honeymoon, Christmas and everything, I haven't actually been able to sit down and gather my thoughts on a whole bunch of movies that we've seen. But now I have the chance, so I want to talk about, hoping to keep it very briefly, but I want to talk about a bunch of movies that we've seen recently. The order of these movies might be a bit off because it's been a while and I don't remember which I saw first, but I'm going to try to keep it as close to it, how it actually was, as I can. The first one that I wanted to talk about is Birdman. Mentioned this on a video that we went to see Birdman, and I really was looking forward to that because Michael Keaton stars in it, and Michael Keaton is the Batman that I grew up with. He's the one that starred in Tim Burton's movie, and then Batman Returns. He was also in Beetlejuice. He was in Multiplicity. He was in White Noise. He was in Desperate Measures. Pacific Heights. Just Michael Keaton has had such a really awesome career in his acting, but not so much in his recognition. Not a lot of people have recognized how good of an actor he is. So it was great to see him in RoboCop, even the RoboCop remake. Even though that movie wasn't, it was interesting, but it wasn't that good. But it had Michael Keaton, so that gave it a bunch of points in my book. And it stars Edward Norton, Emma Stone, and Zach, I hope I don't butcher his last name, Zach Galifianakis. It's basically about this actor that played a really popular superhero called Birdman. Very parallel to Michael Keaton, but I think it's a lot more like Adam West. He played Batman, and he got stuck on that, and he couldn't really do anything else. I think it's more like Adam West. It's a lot like that Grey Ghost episode where Batman meets up with the Grey Ghost, who also was played by Adam West. But I really like the concept of this movie. It's a very interesting look into what happens to an actor like that, and a lot of people remember him as Birdman, but he's trying to show that he's a legit actor. So he sets up this Broadway play, but also it's not really clear if he actually has them. Sometimes they make you think that he doesn't have superpowers because he does sometimes show that he has superpowers. So the movie kind of sometimes lets you know that he doesn't, but then stuff happens that kind of makes you doubt whether or not he actually does. But he has like telekinetic powers or something, and so there's that. That's very interesting part of that. And then he's trying to set up this play so that people recognize that he's a good actor, but he also he seems to have split personality disorder because Birdman, the character that he played, keeps talking to him in a very cool Batman-y voice, which I enjoyed a lot. And then Edward Norton comes into the play, and he's pretty much a jerk. If Michael Keaton didn't give such an awesome performance, Edward Norton would probably have stolen the movie from him, because his performance in this is awesome. Edward Norton's performance in this is awesome, but the main star is Michael Keaton. I've seen him in a lot of good movies. I've seen him be good in a lot of bad movies. This is a great combination of a good director, I think, a very original story, and his performance. Michael Keaton really blew. I knew he was capable of it, but in this movie, he was so good. He goes through all these emotions and all these acting situations, and I'm so blown away by how good his performance in this was. followed by Edward Norton. Edward Norton also gives a really good performance. Everyone else is okay. Zach Galifianakis is pretty good. Emma Stone is also pretty good. Um, who else is in this? Naomi Watts. I think it was Naomi Watts. She's also in it. Also gives a pretty good performance. Uh, and I love the story because it all revolves around this play and whether or not Michael Keaton actually has superpowers. And it's sometimes it also feels like a critique on actors and the prejudice of Broadway actors and how people react to actors and just all these things and everything. I know it's not all in one take, but everything seems to be in one long take. You follow Batman and, for example, Batman Michael Keaton talking to Zach Galifianakis, and they're talking, and then Michael Keaton walks into a different spot, and he opens the door, and he's in New York and Broadway, and then he goes around, does something else, and comes in, and everything is set up to look like it's one single shot. So I really really was very intrigued with this movie. I went to see it with my wife and one of her cousins, and they thought the performances were pretty good, but the story seemed too weird to them. But I enjoyed it. The only thing I had issues with this movie was the soundtrack. Throughout the movie, you hear these drums playing, and that was cool in the moments that needed that kind of hectic sound beat. But throughout the movie, it kind of got to me. I would have liked a few more quiet moments or a different kind of music playing. All these drums beats and everything just seemed it seemed out of place, and it got to me a bit. But the rest of the movie was really good, and the ending is one of those type of endings that gets you thinking whether or not one thing happened or if another thing happened. After watching the movie, I was looking online, and I saw a theory on or an interpretation on the ending, and it's a very interesting interpretation. I don't want to spoil this movie too much, even though it already came and went. But I'm hoping that Michael Keaton gets nominated. He already got nominated for for a Golden Globe. I'm hoping he gets nominated by an Oscar, and even more hopeful that he wins it, because it really, really, really gives a really great performance, I think, in Birdman. And I hope if it does get nominated for an Oscar, the studio re-releases it, and more people go to see it, because here in Mexico it was out 2 weeks, and then they took it out, and not a lot of people that I know that also are moviegoers had a chance to see it, and I kept telling everyone how awesome this movie was. I posted it on Facebook, and I'm still blown away at how good it is. Once it's out on DVD, I so gotta get this movie, because I think Birdman was really, really good. I wasn't sure what to expect when I went into it, but man, did it not disappoint. It was the director really, really did an awesome job with everyone involved. But again, the main thing is Michael Keaton. I hope this movie helps him get the recognition that he deserves, because him, Bruce Willis, Stallone, they're good actors. They've given some really, really great performances, and they just get looked over from a lot of people, and that's a damn shame, because they're good actors. I wish they would get the recognition as actors that they deserve. But really, really good movie. So enjoyed Birdman. I wish I could have gone to see it again. It's that good. It really is that good. So yeah, if you have a chance to see Birdman, watch it. I can't keep saying how good that movie was. The other movie that we went to see recently was The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1. This movie, it has that syndrome where they separate the last book. When it's based on a book series, They separate the last book in two movies. Harry Potter was justified because of course, it was the first one that did it. Um, but that one had so much going into it, story wise, that it made sense that they would separate the last Harry Potter book in two movies. They did the same thing with Twilight, and that one really didn't need to be two movies. And they're gonna do this with the Hunger Games, and you can really tell that this movie was just an excuse to make more money. It had some interesting moments. Jennifer Lawrence gave a good performance. It had some interesting things with how they're trying to turn Jennifer Lawrence characters, Katniss Everdeen, into this like poster child for the rebellion. And at first she doesn't want to do it. She just want to go save. She just wants to go save PETA. But they convince her to do it, and she enters this conflict with President Snow because he pretty much declares war on all the districts. And they go to District 13, which is originally everyone thought was destroyed and radioactive, but there's still survivors in there. So they go there, and that's where everything comes about. And there are some places where it's painful to watch because you can just tell that they're stretching as much as they can to fill out 2 hours and a half. It just, oh man, some parts were really painful where they just there was this one scene where they were just walking through the forest and they're not doing really anything, and then they're just looking at each other, and it felt so much like padding and I don't know. There were parts that I really, really enjoyed. Some acting performances that were really, really good. But, man, this really felt padded. This movie really, really felt padded. And it was a shame because I was kind of looking forward to seeing this. But even my wife, who's read the Hunger Games, agrees that this movie just seemed long and unnecessary. But now we're going to have to wait until next year to see how the whole Hunger Games trilogy 4-part thing ends. But yeah, this again, it had some good elements, but most of it just wasn't that good, I thought. The other movie I was really excited about to go see was Big Hero 6 with Baymax, mostly because of the trailers with Baymax, the balloon robot. And honestly, I hope someone gets into working and building a freaking balloon robot, because I want a freaking balloon robot. I mean, it's basically the story of Hero, who's this genius kid who has this brother that goes to school, and the brother is trying to get him into school and take advantage of Hero's brilliance. But because all he's doing is he's going into illegal underground robot fighting matches to make money, and his brother thinks he's just wasting his life away. So one day he takes him to school and he introduces him to all his classmates who also have robotic knowledge and stuff. And Hero's brother is the one that builds Baymax, which is like this insanely cute medical robot. He inflates and then he analyzes you. He kind of talks at first like the doctor from Voyager, Star Trek Voyager. What is the case of your medical emergency? But he's so awesome. Honestly, I want a freaking balloon robot. But the brother is the one that builds Baymax, and there's this accident that happens later on, and the brother dies. So Hero comes into possession of Baymax, and they find out that there's this evil guy in a kabuki mask that stole technology idea from Hero. So Hero builds a suit of armor for Baymax so that he can take the fight to the kabuki guy. And then Hero's brother's friends from the school also get into the mix. It's a great movie. Visually, I really, really like it. It's from the same people. It's from Disney, but it's from the same people that made Wreck-It Ralph and Frozen. So those two movies were really good. I really enjoy the fact that Disney is coming back, and people are excited about a Disney movie again. Ever since Tangled, I'm not gonna lie, I do miss the 2D animation from Disney. I hope that somewhere down the line, Disney comes back with 2D animation because I miss that animation. But what they're doing right now with the 3D is pretty amazing. This movie is graphically so awesome. The characters are really cool. Everyone is cool. Stan Lee makes a cameo in this movie because it's based on a comic book I don't remember reading, but it's based on a Marvel comic book. So it's the first big collaboration between a Marvel property and Disney, ever since Disney bought Marvel. But it's a good movie, and honestly, again, I want a balloon robot. I don't know. Heck, if I have to build one, I'll build one somehow. But Baymax is by far the best part of the movie. He is visually, his design is cool. I like the balloon design a lot better than the robot design, the final design that Hero builds for him. But it was just a good movie. It had some fun moments. It was funny. It had some heartwarming moments. So it was really good. It was everything I would hope it would be. I really, really like Big Hero 6, and it's another movie that once it comes out on DVD, I'm buying because I want to see more of the balloon robot. Even the shorts that Disney is doing now is still pretty good. I still enjoy the one that was before Wreck-It Ralph, the one with the plane, but this one had such an adorable short about this guy that adopts a dog, and the dog's eating everything. The master's eating hamburgers, French fries, all this stuff. And then he meets a daughter, a girlfriend, and they're starting to eat salad and everything. Amazing little short. It's a small short, but it's so cool and really heartwarming. Great little short. Everything about this movie was great. So I totally recommend Big Hero 6. It's a good animated movie, and I had fun with it. So yeah, thumbs up on that one. The other movie that we went to see was the end of a trilogy that I still maintain it should not have been a trilogy. It should have been 2 movies, but we went to see The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies. Mostly because I wanted to see how that ended. And other than my gripe that it should not have been 3 movies, it was pretty good. I know I like this one better than the first one and the second one. My only gripe is that there wasn't enough Smog, I think. They build up Smog so much in the first one, and then in the second one he's there at the ending, and the sequence with him and Bilbo were pretty cool. But he's there at the beginning because he's destroying, what was it called? Lake Town? Or Coast Town? Something like that. The town where Bard is, and he's there, the Smog is there, and he's burning everything up, and that sequence was amazing. I can't even imagine what that would have been in 3D. We went to see it in 2D, but in 3D or in 3D IMAX, that must have been, wow, that must have been so cool, because that sequence, that the whole burning and the Smog dragon there, that must have been amazing to look at in IMAX 3D, but that sequence was pretty cool. But again, there wasn't enough Smog, I think. I wanted more dragon. So they kill him off like in the first 15 minutes. And then after that, it's all about the dwarves that have to maintain the treasure that they took from Smog, because everyone wants a piece of the treasure. The wood elves and the people from Lake Town, I think it is, who are now led by Bard, and they also want their part of the treasure that was promised them, because they pretty much need money to rebuild after Smog destroyed everything. So you got 12 dwarves and a hobbit trying to defend this giant mine full of gold and riches. And from the wood elves, led by Lee Pace, who was Ronan, the Accuser in Guardians of the Galaxy. And then the trolls and the goblins go after them because they want this mountain because of the riches that will fund their war machine. Because in this one, Sauron comes back proper, and it's also a strategically well-designed place, so they want that. So basically, it's I don't know why it's 5 armies. I only counted 4. You had the wood elves, the humans, the dwarves, and the goblins. So there's only 4 armies. I don't know where they got the 5th army. But yeah, it was pretty good. The battling in this one was pretty good. Thorian of Oakenshield was a good character. He's the only one I remember. Him and Killy, who fell in love with the Evangeline Lilly character. He's the only. They are really the only 2 dwarves that I was invested on and even cared anything about. The other 9 dwarves didn't really. 10 dwarves, I'm sorry, didn't really. They weren't just that memorable in this one. The only other thing besides the smog, the lack of smog, that I didn't like was how they forced this last movie to tie into the Lord of the Rings trilogy, especially at the end, because you had Lee Pace talking to Legolas, Orlando Bloom, and he's like, "Oh, father, I can no longer be part of the Wood Elves. I have to go somewhere." And then Lee Pace is like, "Oh yeah, sure, just go track down this guy that he's a ranger, and he's a good man. You should probably talk to him." And they're referencing, of course, Aragon, and that doesn't make much sense. The more I think about it, because the Hobbit movie, supposedly the Hobbit movie, is set up a good chunk before the Lord of the Rings, because Bilbo goes back to the Shire as a young man, so at least, unless hobbits age differently, at least 30 years must have gone by. So Legolas is immortal. He's okay, but again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong on how time works, or what the timeline of between the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings, but at least a good 30 years. So Aragon would be a lot older, unless he was a ranger when he was like 5. Maybe 30 years didn't go by between the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings. Maybe it's like 20 or something. But still, Bilbo comes back to the Shire as a young hobbit, and by the beginning of the Lord of the Rings, he's an old man. So supposedly the ring was keeping him alive for a long period of time. So yeah, that really didn't felt necessary that Lee Pace sent Legolas to meet up with Aragon, when he would still be really, really young. So that really felt forced, and yeah. But I still liked it. It was a good ending to this Hobbit trilogy, and yeah. Now I want the Battle of the 5 Armies to come out on DVD so I can marathon through the 3 Hobbit movies and then see the Lord of the Rings movies. Just see the old 6 movies in one sitting. That would be pretty cool. And it's been a while since I've done that. So yeah, The Hobbit, The Battle of 5 Armies, really good. Still recommend it if you went through the whole journey of The Hobbit, which is the reason why I saw it. The lack of smog notwithstanding, and the shoehorned connections to The Lord of the Rings notwithstanding, it's a good movie. It's a good movie. Visually, it's a good movie. It's well acted, and yeah, it's pretty recommendable. I totally recommend The Hobbit, The Battle of the 5 Armies. Another movie that we went to see, and we went to see this one just because I convinced my wife to go see it, was Horns, starring Daniel Radcliffe, most well known as Harry Potter. I saw a trailer of this, and it looked like something, but it ended up being something totally different. Basically, what happens is that Daniel Radcliffe's character wakes up one day and he's accused of killing his girlfriend. Everyone in the town where he's in thinks that he killed his girlfriend, and evidence seems to point that he actually might have done it. But he sustains his innocence, and he's tired of everyone being after him and turning against him. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, one day, he starts growing horns, like big devil horns, and he realizes that he has the ability. When someone bad sees him and sees the horns, they start confessing their deepest, darkest evils. And Daniel Radcliffe finds out that he can also influence people when they're in this trance. For example, if someone admits that he just wants to punch someone in the face, Daniel Radcliffe is like, "Yeah, you should probably do that," and they go and do it. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool seeing him, do all these things to these basically horrible people. Everyone in this town was horrible. There wasn't one person in this town that was good except the girlfriend. The girlfriend was the girlfriend and the girl's father. They were the only good, decent people in this whole town because everyone's a freaking jerk, and everyone falls into the spell of the horns. So Daniel Radcliffe is using these horns and this new power to try to find out what really happened to the girlfriend. Because in a part of the movie, it makes you think that it went down one way. Then it kind of changes, and you think, oh crap, this went a different way entirely. And then at the end, it's something else totally different. But I really like the way that they combined the murder mystery with the supernatural element of the horns, and it has a little bit of terror on it. It has, because there comes a point where he is able to control snakes. So snakes are drawn to him, and he's able to control them. So Heather Graham's in this movie as well, and she's this waitress that starts spreading these nasty rumors about Daniel Radcliffe because she wants to be famous. So she's telling everyone, yeah, that he took her, he was mean to her, he beat up the girlfriend because she wants to be famous. So there's one scene where he goes to the diner at night and he unleashes this wave of snakes on Heather Graham. And so by the end, she's being attacked, and by the end, she's bleeding and she's all swollen and everything. That was pretty terrifying. I don't have a fear of snakes, but that was pretty unsettling. But yeah, Daniel Radcliffe gave a really good performance. You could feel his anger, his frustration, and then how he just went full blown evil on these people. Because man, this town is horrible. Even the news reporters that are after him. There's this one scene where he's like, it's in the trailer where he's like, yeah, okay, yeah, okay, I'll give you guys an interview. Why don't you fight among yourselves, and then whoever wins, I'll give the interview to. And they start wailing on each other. You have all these news guys and camera guys and boom mic people beating the shit out of each other. That was a good scene. I laughed and laughed at that scene. They did that. It was just so crazy. But it's a good movie. I really liked it. I really liked it. It has one of those. Depending on how you look at it, it could either be a really downer ending or it could be an uplifting ending. That was kind of more of a downer ending, but it's a good movie. It's well acted. Everyone in the movie gave a good performances. It keeps you guessing. Well, it kept me and my wife guessing. We didn't know. Again, the movie seems to go one way with the girlfriend, and then it goes another way, and then when they actually reveal the truth about what happened to her, it was kind of sad. I was really sad, but it keeps you guessing. It really keeps you guessing, and it does it in a way that, except the reveal of who the killer was, me and my wife figured it out really fast, who the killer actually was. But other than that, it still keeps you guessing, and I think it was a pretty good movie. We didn't know what to expect out of that movie, and I think it surprised us both. So, yeah, Horns. I don't know if it got a wide release or if it was limited, but definitely, it was a good movie. I think I would totally recommend it just to see it and experience it because I thought it was pretty good. But yeah, that was Horns, and the only two movies that I really wanted to see and we didn't get a chance to see was Interstellar, the Christopher Nolan sci-fi movie. I so wanted to see that movie, but it's 3 hours long, and it's kind of hard to convince the wife to go see a 3 hour movie. Same reason we didn't go see Wolf of Wall Street, but I really wanted to see that movie, and I just never got a chance to actually do so. Hoping I'll be able to see it when it comes out on DVD or Blu-ray. So that's one we didn't see, and we still want to go see Exodus, the Moses story with Christian Bale, but that's another 3 hour movie, so that one's a hard sell. And the Penguins of Madagascar. When they announced that movie, I wasn't interested in the least bit on the Penguins, but I saw a trailer and it looks freaking funny. I think we're gonna go see that one next, the Penguins before the year's out. But yeah, that was the Vargas review. I don't know how half an hour. Damn, we're talking for half an hour. So I think I'm gonna cut this. I'm gonna make one more video soon, and I'm gonna do my top 10 favorite movies of 2014. So watch out for that one. But like always, thank you so much for watching and hearing me rant about movies for half an hour. So until I see you all again, thank you so much. And this is Vargas XX78, thanking you and signing out.